はい、皆さんこんにちは。マネックス証券のハッチこと岡本兵八郎です。今回は運用資産額1兆8000億円を超えますインベスコ世界厳選株式オープン、愛称世界のベストの運用責任者のスティーブン・アネスさんをお招きしていろいろとお話をお伺いしたいと思います。So Stephen, welcome back to this cozy studio at the Manex.Hello,
Hutch-san. Good to see you again. Thank you very much. I think this is the fourth time now.
Yeah. I believe so. Yes.
Yeah.
It's been fourth time.
Yeah, I think so. Been a lot going on.
Yeah, a lot of going on. So the stock market, the global stock market, has been very volatile this year since June. I'm sure there are many investors, including myself, who like to learn directly from you as to what happened to your portfolio.So you're back to Japan for your investor, give them an update as to what happened to your portfolio.
Yeah, yes. Absolutely. That's the primary reason for being here. Look, obviously, seeing the clients and updating them on our thoughts is really key to what we're doing. So we're doing some seminars to the financial intermediaries in Tokyo, Nagoya, and Osaka. So yeah, that's the primary reason for being here.
Okay.I'm sure your investor would appreciate that you are explaining the state of your portfolio directly for them. It's always, good to be able to listen what the portfolio manager has to say directly, particularly when the market, move in a very significant manner like this year. So the market has been very volatile, particularly in June and August.How was your fund's performance, and how did you manage the portfolio back then?
Well, I think, as you say, look, the market was very volatile over those summer months. Look, we've managed the portfolio for a while in terms of trying to be what we would describe as all-weather and make sure the portfolio can stand up in different situations. And I think the summer was a good example of that. So look, if we look at this chart here, you can see not just this summer but also in 2022, this is the performance of the fund versus various different market indices. And you can see a lower drawdown in the portfolio and then a sort of fast rebound as well. And I think look, that's really important to us to make sure that we protect investors' capital on the in terms of a drawdown, because it's very difficult then to get that back.And look, as you know, and we've spoken before, the focus of the fund very much is on valuation, making sure that we're buying good companies when they're on sale, and also dividends as well. And those characteristics, I think, were important in protecting the portfolio in those difficult summer months. But it was certainly something we had worried about, because we could see there was evidence of slowing growth in the economy and the labour market in the US.When
we met last time, you mentioned that you're concerned about the market concentration. I understand that you and your team were able to outperform the indices because your team were well prepared for the possible correction to come at some point.
Yeah, look, we were worried about it. We've been worried about market concentration for a period of time, and not just the concentration, also the fact that many of those companies are, very highly valued. There's a lot of positive sentiment towards them, and of course, therefore, they're very correlated too. So, large chunks of the index effectively operate in the same way. So we wanted to be more diverse than that and operate in a range of looking at different sectors. I think the other thing that's important, though, is how you manage the fund in a period of market volatility. And that was important over the summer as well, because whilst end investors may see volatility as quite scary and quite nerve-wracking, actually volatility can create opportunity. And so we were able to add to some of the positions that we owned. We added to Broadcom, for example, in technology. We also added to a position in LVMH, the luxury goods manufacturer, which people are very nervous about the Chinese economy, understandably. But the shares have underperformed over the summer, and that volatility gave us a chance to add to a number of holdings.
So during the market decline in the summer, you added the stocks that you already own, believing that they are very undervalued. Okay, I want to ask you about the Magnificent Seven as well. Since they were always appears, focus of the market, and how do you see Magnificent Seven names as an investment?
Well, look, I think the key point is we've owned all of them. apart from Tesla, over the last number of years. And we look at the Magnificent Seven as we would with any other company in the market. We look at the valuation of the company, we look at the growth on offer, we look at the management team, the quality of the cash flows. And at the moment, we have a big position in Microsoft, we have a sizable position in Amazon, and we also own Apple, albeit we have trimmed our Apple position quite considerably at the moment.
So even the Magnificent Seven names are over-concentrated in the market. It doesn't necessarily mean that you don't hold them at all. Now, I'd like to ask about your overall portfolio. Last time we met, I recall you were overweighting the financial sector relative to MSCI World Index. Is this still the case?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, the financial sector is the biggest overweight in the portfolio. Yeah. But look, I think the key point really about that financial sector position is that it's very broad in itself. And so look, one of the things we often talk about is making sure that the fund can work in a number of different environments, and the financial sector is a key part of that. And so many of the holdings that we have in the financial sector are very broad and diverse and really don't have much correlation between them. And so you can see in this chart here, and so when you think about the sort of makeup of that financial sector, look, a lot of it is sort of private equity businesses, exchange businesses, data businesses. Actually, in terms of the sort of bank exposure, really, it's only a very small part of it. We also have a number of different insurance businesses as well. And so, look, if you think about some of the companies in that financial sector, I mentioned things like private equity and insurance, but from a geographic standpoint as well, we have companies such as AIA and Standard Chartered, which are benefiting from sort of the burgeoning middle class and increasing wealth and affluence within certain parts of Asia. And so, very diverse sector by geography and also by sort of business type.
When we, think of financial industry, we tend to think, of banks. But the 世界のベスト, your fund, invests in a wide variety of financial businesses.
And so, look, I think when we're thinking about the financials, also I'd like to introduce maybe some of the stock exchange names, because I think when people think of stock exchanges, they think of the sort of the old trading floors, whereas actually in reality now, these are very different businesses. And so we actually own 3 within the portfolio. We own LSE, ICE and CME. And just to give a little bit of background on those, so ICE, the actual exchange business now is small, but ICE has a very interesting sort of dominant position in agriculture, in energy, and they also have a new business line which is the digitalization effectively of mortgage technology, which is a really interesting growth angle. LSE Group, many people will know the London Stock Exchange, but actually that's a tiny part of the business now. The vast majority of that business is market infrastructure effectively and data services, very reliable, strong growth, good pricing power. And then finally CME, again, some really dominant franchises within that business, particularly the US rates business, which I think, given how much volatility we've seen recently in rates, particularly over the summer and now obviously with the US election, that's the kind of environment that benefits that business really, really well.
How about the country and the regional allocations of your fund?
Yeah, so it looks quite different to the benchmark. So we're underweight the US market, and we are overweight Europe and the UK, and Asia, and underweight Japan.
So continue to be the same?
Yeah, very similar to last time. Look, we have pretty long-term time horizons and relatively low turnover, so it doesn't change that much sort of quarter to quarter.
So your fund, 世界のベスト, continues to invest in stocks that are selected from a different perspectives from other fund managers. So it seems to me that investing in a combination of your fund, 世界のベスト, and other funds such as passively managed index fund or other popular active funds that invest in US growth stocks or semiconductor related names, that would be a nice option for diversification. from investors' perspectives?
Yeah, look, we are pretty different. As I said, we tend to operate in quite a contrarian way. So if I think about the sort of broad setup of the portfolio at the moment, I'd say there was a few kind of key themes within that. So firstly, yes, we are underweight many of the Magnificent Seven companies, which a lot of other funds are overweight, particularly the market, as you said, it's a big part of the market. We've begun to sort of increase the weight of some of the defensive positions within the portfolio as well. I mentioned some of the exchange businesses, and those are part of that, defensive growth businesses that can perform in lots of different environments. And then finally, I would also say sort of smaller and mid-cap businesses. I think those have been really left behind. Many very attractive companies, really good growth profiles, good M&A opportunities ahead of them. And many of those companies trade at a discount to their large cap kind of peers that they've not traded at in a long time. So I think those are probably the three kind of key differences I would highlight between us and many other funds.
Because you're here and because we had the U.S. election ended peacefully last week, I want to hear your thoughts on the U.S. election implication to your portfolio.
I think the challenge going forward is understanding exactly which policies will be enacted. And I remember the previous Trump administration, 2016 to 2020, there was a lot of volatility. There was sort of almost policy via Twitter. And so I think as an investor, that makes it quite hard to, you don't want to bet the portfolio on a sort of policy outcome, because it was very changeable. And so I think for investors, we need to accept that there will likely be volatility going forward, making sure you have a number of different positions in your portfolio that aren't too exposed to sort of policy change. And
well, I'll be very much looking forward to see you in the next several months.
Yeah, absolutely. Look forward to seeing you next time, and we can see how the Trump presidency is going, can't we?
Okay. はい、ということで本日は資産運用額1兆8000億円を超えますインベスコ世界厳選株式オープン、愛称世界のベストの運用責任者でありますスティーブン・アネスさんをお招きしまして、ファンドの最新運用状況についてお話をお伺いしました。今回のこの動画がですね、皆さんの資産形成のお役に立てれば幸いに思います。ご視聴どうもありがとうございました。Thank you, Stephen. Do come back.
I will, definitely. Good to see you again. Thank you.